I try to get a good shot, but the lighting is just not great, especially with the snow. As some of you may know, I'm a writer for the Left-Hand Valley Courier, and I had to come to Niwot today to do some reporting, and I parked right outside of Inkberry Books, even though you can't see it, because this week I'm partnering with them. So hello and welcome back. I'm really excited because I was recommended The Lizards of Palm Beach by Bruce McDougall, and let me tell you guys, it was a doozy. There were plot twists, things that I kind of sort of saw coming, but not really. It was a lot. So it starts out with a prologue, and in the prologue it's just the narrator, who's unnamed, talking about how he first met this rich friend of his and how they met at an art gallery. And then this art gallery comes back later in the book section of the book, because it's kind of the story of Darius Pierre, the manager or curator of the art gallery, but it's also kind of about some of his rich friends and also some of one artist that he represents, and that one artist is Mark Rondell, or is it? So that was actually one of the little sorry for the minor spoiler, but kind of one of the little twists where you're kind of thrown into doubt, because at the beginning it seems really clear that it's Mark and he's the guy that makes all the lizards, and then something else happens, because turns out Mark has a brother, Dwayne. Now this book is interesting because it uses the lizards and the art gallery as a way to discuss wealth, which, you know, just kind of with everything that's been going on recently, like with COVID and the stimulus checks and people who do and don't qualify and all of that jazz, I think it kind of is almost a little apropos. Kind of on that note too, there's mention of Vic Damone's death and the president, who likes to hang out in Mar-a-Lago. So based off of a couple of clues and then a couple of outright mentions of Trump, it's kind of assumed that this takes place around 2018, 2019-ish. So that was kind of a fun little tidbit. I really enjoy when fiction books take place in a real time, especially a real time that you and me as readers know. I think that makes it even more interesting. But anyway, so about the book, about the plot, Mark takes some lizards to Pierre at his art gallery and wants to sell them. And Pierre, who is the walker for this old rich lady by the name of Melanie Merriweather, he agrees. He decides to set up this party. Melanie decides to set up this party, and at the party all sorts of stuff happens. So we get to kind of have a peek into the fictionalized wealthy world of Palm Beach and how everyone's constantly trying to one-up each other with what type of art they have and how else they can show off their wealth. And one of the people who is most apt to show off is this guy named Keith Kletman. And I'd say honestly that Keith is kind of the only trigger warning. He kind of has Jeffrey Epstein vibes, because he has this agreement with this girl named Mary Louise, who actually is kind of friends with Mark, but not really. It's weird. It's a weird relationship. And she brings all of her friends to his parties, and they're all really young, and all of the guys that go to his parties are really old, and I'm sure you can assume what happens next. And if you can't, here's a hint, there's a trial. So I think that's really the only triggering-ish thing. Because for the most part, it's just kind of a discussion about wealth, and if money really is the root of all things evil, or how necessary money is. And I think it's really well done. It's a short story. It's only 150 pages. And you're going to want to keep turning the pages, because you just want to know, is Mark the real artist? Is Dwayne the real artist? His brother? Does Dwayne ever get any credit? Does Dwayne ever get off his high horse about money being evil? Because frankly, his I don't know, his attitude was a little bit annoying to me. It makes sense. It's very realistic. I know that people are out there who share Dwayne's belief, just like I know that there are people out there who share Mark's and Mary Louise and Melanie Merriweather and Keith Cotlin and all of them. I think I'm definitely kind of more in the middle, so both of the extremes are a little bit hard for me to like fully understand and empathize with, but I think that just kind of highlights how good of an author McDougall is, because he can flip between both sides of the discussion, and I think he does it really, really well. It's entertaining. Like I said, you want to know what happens next among all the characters. You want to know if the theft ever gets solved. You want to know if the death ever gets solved. There are 2 deaths in here. But yeah, it's overall a very solid book. I definitely recommend. And again, I thank Inkberry, who is blurred out because of the light, for recommending it to me. That's all I've got for the Lizards of Palm Beach. Next week, I'm back to my regular Twitter friend reviews. This time I have Lana Grace Riva's The Existence of Amy. The back talks about how Amy has a normal life, and everything seems to be at risk of that normal life. So I'm very excited to come back with my thoughts with you next week. So happy reading, and thanks.